Irish born and bred Tony was recently at the Sinead O'Connor janaza private funeral prayer, and he's here with us to tell us more about his experience, how he ended up there, and his journey also to the way of life that Sinead O'Connor accepted. Here with us, Tony.
Assalamu alaikum, Eddie. How are you, brother?
Wa alaikum assalam. Greetings and peace. How are you doing, Tony?
Yeah, very well. Very well, thank God. All good. All good.
So you were recently at the Sinead O'Connor janaza, is that correct?
Correct, Eddie. Correct. Absolutely, yeah.
Were you a good friend of her family's, or because this is a very private event, and how did you end up there?
Well, I'll tell you the story, Eddie. Basically, I was at home. I have never met Sinead or her family, other than, of course, she's being a sister in faith, since 2018, and been, of course, a fan of hers since growing up. Such a rebel, such a wonderful soul, and she contributed so much to, our society here, and lots of things. So, look, I was at home, prayed morning prayer, and I was sitting there, and I came across a video on your channel, and I made a few calls, and I spoke to Sheikh Umar Qadri, who was actually leading the janaza prayer, and he invited me and requested that I would join them for the prayers on the day. So I took the journey from my hometown and went there, and it was all Allah's plan, and it was such a privilege and an honor to meet her family and to be there, which of course was a very sad occasion, but it was a great privilege and honor and something very beautiful.
So Alhamdulillah, she actually had the proper Islamic janaza
Yes,
funeral
correct.
prayer. They got
Yes,
to wash the body and to prepare it for
Alhamdulillah.
the prayer. Everything it
Yeah,
went through.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Yeah, Sheikh Qadri led the prayers, and it was really beautiful. And her family are just such beautiful people, and not surprising, I mean, she was a really a great sister, a great lady, and they were just so welcoming and wonderful. And it was just an unexpected honor, like personally for myself. I was quite honored, and it came out of nowhere. God works in mysterious ways, and I had no expectations at all of being there, but it just last minute it came through, and as I said, a really great honor.
So this was nothing you planned ahead of time. Nothing. This just happened. You actually saw one of the reporting that we did because we got some news from someone else that possibly this was not going to happen, and they were writing about it in the paper.
Correct.
And then we reported on it to hopefully create some awareness. And so this actually ended up happening. And you saw the program we did, and you drove what, almost 2.5 3
Yes.
hours down to the, was it in Dublin?
Yeah, it was near Dublin. The janaza prayer was in Bray, which is quite near to Dublin. Like, it's so funny how it happened because, as you say, those were pretty much the circumstance, and it was just when I saw the video that was on your channel, I just and you were there speaking with the sister, and you made a call that if anyone in Ireland, any Muslims, were there, that something could be done, and obviously that would be a great worry and concern. I mean, we're all going to die, and that's the thing. And as Muslims, of course, we hope and pray that when we do die, it will be in a good way, and that we'll receive the proper send off appropriate to our faith. And it was something that just my heart. I was sitting there and I was like, wow, I have to do something, and I had no idea what to do, to be honest. And I was thinking of different strategies, like that. You're going, what can I do? And I have no power really to do anything, just a simple man. And I said, wow. And I saw the picture of Sinead with the Sheikh Qadri when she took her Shahada and entered into the Islamic faith back in 2018. And I thought, okay, if anyone should know what's happening, so it should be the Imam, So I contacted him. I found his phone number online. I'd never spoken to him before, actually, believe it or not. Our paths hadn't crossed. And just made the call, and we spoke, and he put my mind at rest that, look, he had contacted the family, and that the family were very open and welcoming, and that they were happy for the janaza to take place and the prayers to be done. There was no issue. And like, for me, it was funny because I noticed, like, when our sister passed away, that, like, obviously there was a lot of coverage. She's someone who's worldwide with her music, and of course with her accepting Islam a few years ago. She's, amazing notoriety, but here she's like completely a household name, So there was a lot of write ups in the paper when she passed. And I noticed actually that, for example, they had pictures of our sister in her hijab and things, but all of the write ups that I found, none of them mentioned Islam when she passed away. I was specifically looking for it, and it was almost written out of the narrative. And that's fine, I understand that. And but as you said, I think the day before your video on your channel, guys, there was a big write up in the paper saying that Sinead would receive no Muslim funeral. And a lot of all these things just, yeah.
You saw
Yeah,
that one also, the
absolutely.
one
I
you
think
were
the Irish
mentioning,
Irish
yeah.
Examiner, for example, a big Irish paper, was literally the headline. And as I said, even in retrospect now, I look back.
What did the headline read
I don't want
again?
to misquote, but I think it was Sinead will not receive a Muslim funeral. That was pretty much the
Hmm.
headline. So again, that was the kind of the vibe around the time, as you say, the day before the burial, and that concerned me, of course, even watching your video. But Alhamdulillah, in the end, it was actually completely different what happened, as we know now, even from the media coverage. It has been clear that she received Islamic prayers and that everything was done. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, in a good way, a blessing
Alhamdulillah.
from Allah. So yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So did you get a chance to meet some of her family? Which family members were there? Do you
Yeah,
know?
her, like, there was family members. There's maybe 25, 30 members of her family, all beautiful people. And I met her father, had an opportunity to talk to her dad. You know,
You met her father also, Sinead O'Connor's father.
what a gentleman, what an absolutely lovely man. I mean, you could just tell straight. He just a beautiful man. And one of the statements we were speaking after, and one of the statements he made to me was, tears in his eyes, and he just said to me, he said, Sinead was a true believer. He repeated this phrase, and it stayed in my heart. What a gentleman. Even when we were at the burial ground, he was very keen for us to pray beside the grave. Everything. It was. He took the lead in that. You couldn't really find more welcoming family, to be honest, and more respectful. And even talking to other members of the family, I chatted to Bono, chatted to Sir Bob. They were there.
Who was that again?
Sir Bob Geldof, the
Who,
Boomtown Rats frontman from the '80s band, well-known singer, and Bono from
what's
U2.
it? uh, Bono
Yeah,
from
both in
YouTube, and
attendance.
these are like some famous musicians that were
Absolutely.
at the time of
Yeah,
Sinead.
and they
Yeah.
would have grown up actually. Not only would they have been musicians at Sinead's time, they would have grown up. Sir Bob was explaining to me afterwards. We chatted briefly, and he was saying that they all grew up in pretty much the same area, which is,
Wow.
subhanallah, remarkable that they all kind of had the same trajectory in becoming kind of worldwide stars. So, and even Sir Bob made the comment. He told me, he said, the Islamic prayers, he said, they were so heartfelt was the phrase. Excuse me, heartfelt, and you could see it really touched him. Even Bono was incredible. You could see that it just really touched their hearts. The recitation of the
Mashallah.
Quran, alhamdulillah, and that came across even from the family afterwards. It really, even there was a man working in the graveyard, and he just walked over to us and said, "Your prayers were so beautiful." It was, to be honest, it was a remarkable experience. I met her nephews, I met cousins for it. They were just. You couldn't really have felt more welcome. It was incredible. It was actually incredible.
Much respect goes out to the family of Sinead O'Connor,
Absolutely, absolutely.
for honoring this and allowing this to go ahead and take place.
Absolutely,
This is
Eddie. Yeah, yeah.
much
Much
respect.
love and
Yes.
respect. Yeah, yeah. As I said, you just couldn't have met kinder or more welcoming people. Really, it was touching. It was a very emotional experience, and one that will, I think, stick with me for, inshallah ta'ala, a very long time. It was, yeah.
If anybody else out there can get us in touch with, I don't know if you had a chance or anything, we'd like to talk with Sinead O'Connor's father. These statements are sticking with me. To see someone like that at the end, she was a believer, he said, and
Yeah,
hopefully we can go ahead. He can see this and he can consider
absolutely.